Okay, welcome to Word Without Walls. Welcome to the Wednesday night sunlight service. The title of the message tonight is A Lamp and a Light. So, of course, we're going to be talking about Psalm 119, 105. That's my main verse for tonight. But what I really want to focus on is really how we're always kind of looking for signs from without, when what we need to do is we need to listen to what's going on within. Really, if I can say it another way, because of course I'm going to focus on the light, obviously, with a title like that, but really what it is follow your heart. Listen to your heart. Your heart knows the way for you to go. Your heart may not know the way for anybody else to go, but your heart knows the way for you to go. It's your heart. It's what's important to. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And we're going to get to some of this in a little bit, but really when we understand that Jesus and we are the light of the world, and when we understand that Jesus is love, then what we understand is when it says, when Psalm 119, 105 says, Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. The word is Jesus. The word is love. Okay, so what it's really saying is, God, your love is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Okay, so when we're flowing, when we're not struggling, when we're not trying to do things ourselves, when we're not trying to fit in, when we're not banging our head against the wall and just getting a headache, when we're flowing in that river of living water that flows out of us, it's going to feel good. It's going to feel like love. Because love is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. Love will guide us. Our heart knows the way. And I looked up the words lamp and light in Strong's Hebrew Concordance. Lamp is number 5216, and it means to glisten. Which, when I saw that, what I really kind of immediately thought of was a rainbow kind of shimmering. And of course, a rainbow comes when the light, when the sun shines on kind of the end of the rain, you know. So the storm's over and the sun is shining and the lamp is glistening, and it also means candle, lamp, or light. So really we're all talking about the same thing here. The lamp means the light, and light is number 216 in Strong's Hebrew Concordance. And it means illumination, lightning, or happiness. Bright, clear day, light, morning, sun. So again, we see the sun shining, and that's what makes things glisten. It's, again, you know, it's the sun shining on us, the sun shining into us, the sun shining through us. And it says S-U-N, but you can also use it S-O-N, because again, it's Jesus. The Word is Jesus. The Word is love. Okay? John chapter 1 talks about Jesus, you know, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So we know Jesus is the Word, and then He was made flesh and dwelt among us, and then through the cross He began to dwell in us. So again, it's not an external sun shining on us, but it's what's inside of us shining out of us. That's what lights up or illuminates our way and our path. That's what makes us happy. And again, if you're flowing, there should be an element of happiness there. It shouldn't be a struggle. It shouldn't be hard. And I'm not saying you shouldn't work hard, because hard work is how you accomplish things. But I'm talking about it shouldn't be. It should be easy when you're working hard, if I can say it that way. It's a posture of rest, and rest is not inactivity. Rest is Holy Spirit directed activity. It's what's inside of us directing us where to go. Remember last week we talked about the wind. We don't know where the wind comes from or where it goes, but we see the evidence of it. We know where it takes us, if I can say it that way. So again, when we're talking about Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path, your love makes me glisten or shine. Your love lights me up and makes me happy. Your love makes a bright, clear day. It illuminates things. It shows me what's inside when it comes out, when it manifests. And the way that what's inside comes out is when we know and believe that it's inside. We don't force it out. We just fill ourselves to overflowing with what we've already been filled with. And that's why I think it's so important that we understand, starting in Matthew chapter 5, verses 14 through 16, I think it's so important that we understand when Jesus said, "Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works, and glorify your Father which is in heaven." So again, His Word, which is Jesus, which is love, is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. And then Jesus says, "You are the light." Okay? Which means we are the Word. Right? If the Word is a light and we are the light, that means we are the Word. And the Word is love. So that doesn't just mean that we are loved, and that doesn't just mean that we can love. That means that we are love. Okay? That's our true identity. That's who we really are. And again, if you are love, if that's your identity, if that's your nature, if that's what's inside of you, then that's what's going to come out of you. That's what's going to light your path. Love will light your path. Love will show you where to go. If you come into every situation with love, then you'll get out of every situation just fine. You remember the 3 Hebrew boys who were thrown in the fiery furnace? And when they were pulled out of the fiery furnace, after the 4th man who looked like the Son of God was in there with them, the only thing that had happened to them was the ropes that were tying them and binding them had been burned off. They didn't even smell like smoke. They came out smelling like roses. Okay? Because of what was inside of them. Because the fire in them was hotter than the fire they were in. And that's how it always is when you know how loved you are, when you understand that love that's inside of you, and when you fill yourself to overflowing with that love that you're already filled with. You don't have to get it because you already have it. You just have to receive it and release it. And really, I think we receive it by releasing it. Because if you love somebody, that means that on some level you believe you are loved. Because you can't give what you don't have. You can't love unless you know that you are loved. So again it says, "You are the light of the world," Jesus says. In the Message Bible, Matthew 5, 14 through 16 reads like this. Here's another way to put it. You're here to be a light, bringing out the God colors in the world. Without you being you, it's hard for people to see God. Because they see God when they see you. When they see God's love in you, when they see God's love coming out of you. That's when we see the God colors, which again brought me back to the rainbow, the colors of the rainbow. Alright, most of the time it's just, blue sky. But when the light shines in a certain way after a storm, or after the flood in the first case, then something almost magical happens. Then God colors can be seen. And that's what we're here to do. We are God's love letter to the world. We are here to show others who God is. But you can't show someone who God is unless you know who God is. Right? First, your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. So first I know that I'm loved, and then I love others with that love, and then they know God because they know love. It says, here's another way to put it. You're here to be light, bringing out the God colors in the world. God is not a secret to be kept. We're going public with this, as public as a city on a hill. I make you light bearers. You don't think I'm going to hide you under a bucket, do you? I'm putting you on a light stand. Now that I put you there on a hilltop, on a light stand, shine. Keep open house. Be generous with your lives. By opening up to others, you'll prompt people to open up with God, this generous Father in heaven. And I've always thought the church had that completely backwards, where we try to scare people straight, where we try to make God out to be angry and scary, and what happens? We find people running from Him. But if we showed people who God really is, again, not by forcing Him down people's throats, but just simply by loving people the way that we're loved. Isn't that what Jesus said the new commandment is? Love one another as I have loved you. Didn't Jesus say that's how people will know you're my disciples? By the love you have one to another? If we love people, they'll come back for that because that's what everybody wants. If you offer somebody something that they want, they're going to come for it. Right? And in Revelation, the Spirit and the bride say, come. They don't say, come or else. They say, come and get it. Because we have what everybody needs. And now, when we know that we have it, when we believe that we have it, when we receive it and release it, or again, receive it by releasing it, that's when other people get a glimpse of it. That's when we shine the light, and not only can we see, but then other people can see too. So look at John chapter 8, verse 12. And I put this in here just so we're absolutely positively clear. John 8:12 says, Then spake Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. So again, what we see here is we are the light of the world. He is the light of the world. It's the same light. When God, in the beginning, when the heaven and earth were dark and void and without form, when God spoke and He said, let there be light, that's when He did what John 3:16 says. That's when He gave His only beloved Son. That's when He interjected something into our darkness. That's when He lit up our feet and our path. He gave us His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him shall not perish, but shall have everlasting life. Which is what Jesus said. If I am the light of the world, he that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. Which, if we see what light means again, that means we'll have the light of happiness. We'll have the light of a bright, clear day, of a morning. We'll have a life of the sun shining on us, or again, S-O-N, shining in us and shining through us. But I put that in there because I really want us to see, to physically, concretely see that we are the light of the world. He is the light of the world. It's the same light. It's the same word that is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. It's Jesus. It's love. And as we're about to see, not only is He a lamp unto our feet, and not only is He a light unto our path, but He is the path. Okay? When I believe it's the Apostle Paul writes in one of the letters to the Corinthian church, when he talks about a more excellent way, he's talking about love, he's talking about Jesus. But first I want to read 2 Samuel 22:29, and it reads in the King James, For thou art my lamp, O Lord, and the Lord will lighten my darkness. So just in case I just want to hit this really hard, just to be absolutely sure, this word, this lamp, this light that we're talking about, it's the Lord Jesus Christ. It's Jesus. It's the Word made flesh. It's love. So again, if love is our lamp and our light, and it's within us, that means we know where to go. That means we know what to do. And I've always said, if you don't know what to do what you know. Okay? If you're in a situation and you're not sure about it, do what you can do. Love. Start with love, end with love, and you'll find everything in between is love. That's Jesus again, the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, the first and the last. So again, it's just knowing what's inside, and it's filling ourselves to overflowing with what's already in there so that it can come out naturally. Now, I mentioned this already, but John chapter 14, verse 6, Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. And normally when I preach this verse, I really try to hit hard on that idea that Jesus said, no man cometh unto the Father but by me. Because what He was doing is He was showing us you can't live in the context of sonship unless you know the Son. Unless you know that you are the Son. No man can come to the Father unless he knows He's the Son. That's that Father-Son relationship. But tonight I want to talk about Him saying, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Okay? He is the way. He is the path that He's lighting up. It's all Jesus. It's all love. And it's really kind of similar in the Message Bible. It says, Jesus said, I am the road, also the truth, also the life, knowing no one gets to the Father apart from me. And again, that's simply because how can you have a father-son relationship unless you know He's your Father and you know you're His Son? Unless you know your true identity, which is Jesus, God in the flesh, love in a body. Unless you know who you are, you can't understand God in that personal relationship, father-son, unconditional love type of way. But again, that's what we're looking at tonight is Him saying, I am the way. Because there's a verse in Matthew chapter 7, verse 14, where Jesus says, well, I'll back up a little bit. We have a little bit of time. I think I'm going pretty fast here. Let's just back up one more verse to Matthew chapter 7, verse 13. Jesus says, "Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat." And I think most traditional religious folk take that to mean straighten up or you're going to hell. I think most traditional religious folk take that to mean get right or get left. But what he says next, I think, is very important. In verse 14, Jesus says, "Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way, which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it." He wasn't talking about an afterlife at all. He was talking about life. He was talking about his life, because he is the way. Okay? When it says strait is the gate and narrow is the way, he's the way. And again, he talks about, I think it's in the book of John, how he is the door to the sheepfold. So he's the gate. Right? And he said, if any man tries to get into the sheepfold any other way, he's a robber. He's a thief and a robber. Because what happens when you try to get in any other way is you rob yourself from the gift you've been given. If you try to earn what can't be earned, you're going to miss out on what you've already been given. The gift of eternal life. Right? So again, what are we talking about? Life. What did Jesus say? If any man follows me, he will have the light of life. If you're talking about guiding us, a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path, that you're talking about walking. Right? You're talking about this journey of life. Right? And I don't know about you, but I think the Beatles did a pretty good song, but I don't think a long and winding road is always necessarily the best way to go. I think if you can go straight from point A to point B, I think that'll be a lot easier. Right? That's why the Bible talks about how he's brought every mountain low and every valley high, and how he's made the way straight. Okay? We think this is a bad verse, but I think it's a good verse. I think this is Jesus saying, I've got it covered. Okay? He's saying, I am the gate, and I am the way that leads unto life. And I think he says, and few there be that find it. I think that's quite honestly because we're too busy looking for other things. We're seeking the kingdom as if we don't have it, instead of seeking the kingdom to see what we already have, to see what we've been given. Because Jesus said in another place, he said, "Fear not, little flock, it's your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." He gave us the kingdom. He gave us his Son. He gave us his Spirit. He gave us his life. He gave us everything we would need. We've been blessed with all spiritual blessings. And we've been given all things that pertain to life and godliness. He did it all so we could get it all. And all that he did was the cross, when he died both for us and as us, and rose again, both for us and as us and with us. He brought us out of death and into life. He brought us out of the world and into the kingdom. He did all of that. And he did it so that we could experience it, so that we could have it. He gave us a gift because he wanted us to have something better. He wanted us to have a more excellent way. He wanted us to see where we're going. He wanted us to see who he is. Remember when Philip asked him, Philip said, "Show us the Father." And Jesus said, "How long have I been with you? And you still don't get it. If you've seen me, you've seen the Father." Right? We're the light that shows the God colors to everybody else. If you've seen me, you've seen the Father, because he lives in me. And any time I let him, and sometimes when I don't let him, he comes out of me. Right? Because he's too big to contain. He's too big to hold in. Love is too big to contain. Love is too big to hold in. Okay? Because if Jesus is the gate, and if Jesus is the way, that means love is the gate, and love is the way which leadeth unto life. And that makes perfect sense to me, because I've said it many times. To live is to love, and to love is to live. There's few that find it because there's few that understand love. And if you don't understand love, you don't understand life. And if you've given up on love, you've given up on life. But if you'll let God love you, remember how many times we talk about the difference between Adam and Jesus? Both God's sons, but Jesus was God's beloved Son. Not because God only loved one of them, but because Jesus let himself be loved. Because Jesus believed what God said about him. When God said, "You are my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased," Jesus said, what else would I be? What else would my Father think of me? And then that affirmation from the Father empowered Jesus to do everything that he did in his earthly ministry. Jesus didn't do anything in his earthly ministry until the Holy Spirit, our love receptor, came upon him in the shape of a dove and rested on him. And his Father said, you are my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. And Jesus said, well, if I'm your beloved Son, in whom you are well pleased, now I can start doing some things. Now I can start walking as a son. Now your word has lit up my path. Okay? Now your love is a lamp and a light. Now I know where I'm going. And again, even if you don't know where you're going, you can still be you no matter what, no matter where, no matter to whom, right? That was the point of the whole Good Samaritan parable, was love your neighbor, okay? The point was not the Samaritan helping someone else. The point was the Samaritan was the neighbor. The point was you can do this to anybody, and it doesn't matter who they are or what they do, because it comes from inside. Because you're not trying to get something from them, but instead you're sharing what you have, okay? Because you know what you have, because the light is shining. The light is shining on you, the light is shining in you, the light is shining through you, okay? And when the light is shining, you can see this path. You can see this more excellent way. And not only see it, but walk it. And I think that's why Psalm 119, 105 says, thy word is a lamp unto my feet. Because if your feet are lit up, then you can go where you're supposed to go. You don't just see the path and then shy away from it, right? There's no fear in love. Perfect love casts out all fear, right? We don't have to be afraid to go where our heart leads us, right? And I know that that can be scary, because sometimes when you put yourself out there, you don't get what you want out of the situation. Sometimes you put yourself out there because you're trying to get instead of trying to give. And that can be scary. It can be scary to be vulnerable. It can be scary to not know where you're going. But there's a trust factor here, which is what faith is. All right? Faith is not believing to make something happen. Faith is believing that something has happened. Right? Faith is the evidence of things not seen. Okay? So what we have to understand here is a lamp and a light, that's about showing us some things. And again, we've talked the last 2 weeks about eyes to see and ears to hear. About that still small voice. About those things that are unseen. About a totally different realm, a spiritual realm, a kingdom realm. Talking about not getting caught with surface stuff, but digging a little deeper. Because when you go a little deeper, then you find what's inside. And when you find what's inside, that's when it comes out. When we stop looking at things or people and start looking into them, and we start seeing who they really are, whether they know it or not, whether they act like it or not. That doesn't matter. Somebody else's response to your love is not the point. Your response to God's love is the point. He loves us so that we can love each other. He fills us up so that we have something that we can give to one another, something that we can share with one another. He lights up our path so that we can live. And again, to live is to love, and to love is to live. So when we understand that He is the light of the world, we are the light of the world, this light doesn't come from outside, it comes from inside. It's that thing inside of you that fires you up. It's that thing inside of you that makes you you. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Okay? You're not supposed to try to fit into society. Paul said, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I think that's so important, because the natural mind, it wants to fit in. The natural mind wants to get rid of everything individual. It wants to cut off all those edges so that we can fit into a round hole instead of being a square peg into a round hole. But those edges are what make us unique. Those edges are what make us special. And if we get rid of those things, if we deny those things, if we ignore those things, then we'll never get to where we're supposed to be, and we'll just find ourselves just completely lost, completely stumbling around in the dark. Right? And if the blind leads the blind, they both fall into a ditch, so that's no good. If we let the world tell us who we're supposed to be, we'll never be who we truly are. But if we start to see things differently, if we start to hear things differently, if we start to listen to that still small voice inside of us that says love, 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 God's heart beating with love in our chest, if we start listening to that, if we start listening to the affirmation of the Father, if we start really, again, following this straight and narrow path as the Spirit of truth leads and guides us into all truth, if we just start, again, we get so distracted so easily, and we get so off base so easily, when the point of it all is love. The more excellent way is love. The gate is love. The way is love. The lamp is love. The light is love. The word is love. It's all love. And if we get onto that and off of everything else, then it's going to flow. Then it's going to be what it's supposed to be. Then we're going to be who we're supposed to be. Then we're going to be who we really are. So that's what I have for tonight. I hope it's encouraging. I want to say it again. Just listen to your heart and just follow your heart, because your heart knows. So as always, thank you so much for all of your support, all of your attendance, and helping me with the books and the rants. I have a new volume of the Jesus Rant, my daily blog. I put another year into another book, and that'll be coming out real soon. So just thank you for helping me get the word out there. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Amen.